Eamon, I got you loud and clear, man. Tell me, what's your question?
Sure. Well, it's more of a situational thing. As far as my situation goes, is that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm here in Utah for about 3 years. Just a bunch of life stuff happened. I'm having a lot of trouble starting thing up. It's mostly due to not having the capital, I guess, now. You know, I keep applying for jobs that could pay more. I should be perfectly qualified for them. But the end goal is to start a business. I just am not able to accumulate the capital in order to do so. What should I do?
So first of all, you've had a job on and off for the last 3 years, is that right?
Kind of. I've had jobs here and there. I had a job lined up when I came out, and they basically told me they hired somebody else when I got here, which kind of blindsided me. And I've had a couple jobs. I had this most recent one for about a year and a half.
Okay. So you have had some stable work, a year and a half. What are you doing right now?
Right now, so I work with teens that are troubled behavior stuff.
Okay. And how much are you making a year?
Let's see, right around, I want to say 40, just about.
Okay. And the biggest reason why you feel like you're not financially getting ahead is what?
Mostly due to, I would say, personal circumstance. I am qualified for more. When I came out here, before I came out, I was making around $75K. And now that I'm here, I'm trying to support the debt that I had personally from $75K, a $40K budget. And it just makes things really hard, you know?
So is there something that is keeping you in Utah instead of going back to a job where you can earn almost double the money?
I've applied pretty much everywhere, and I'm not getting replies from anybody. I've applied back where I used to work. The management has changed since then, and so I've been unable to get in contact. I've probably put in, say, 700 applications in the past year.
700 applications the last year while you've been working this 40K job, and you're just not finding work.
Correct.
What is your skill in that you're trying to get hired in?
Most of my experience isn't, so I've been applying really anywhere that requires any level of management, mostly retail though. So before this, I was doing just department level management, and then I was assistant store manager at a Lowe's, and then I came out here and I worked for you for a brief spell, and I went to another retail management job, and now I'm but I'm in this mental health technician job.
Okay. So I know that you want to be able to invest and grow yourself financially, but first and foremost, it sounds like you're just having a hard time getting established in a career. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't go to college or anything like that. My parents kind of advised against it, and I agree on some level. I think there are some things that require college, but not everything. And I have been unable to, I guess, since I came out here, to hold anything solid. Yeah.
How much time have you really spent examining careers and pay and really what you want to do in life? Because I don't think anyone grows up and says, I want to be in retail. I want to manage retail. Like, what is it that you want to do with your life?
Well, ideally, I'd like to buy businesses. I think real estate's super fun. Anything ownership is awesome. I was in a part of Roland Fraser's circle for a little while. I just didn't have the capital to start it up. So I have tons of knowledge on things on what to do, but a lot of it is money that I can't accumulate.
Okay, so this is where you keep confusing me a little bit. You don't need money to make money. You need somebody's money to make money. So if you're pursuing something that's lucrative, the money is going to be available. What's this business that you've been wanting to get started up that you need capital for that you don't have?
I think it's less solid of a specific business. It's more, I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and maybe through fault I didn't stick with it long enough or something, but nothing has panned. So I tried for a little while. I tried the sandwich leasing, your program. I did cleaning. I tried a remote cleaning business. I tried the rank and rent stuff, SEO agencies. Yeah.
So this is my curiosity. You're trying a lot of things and a lot of things aren't happening. You're having a hard time convincing employers to give you a job. Like, for just a moment, look at yourself in the mirror. What do you think that other people might be seeing that you're not seeing in yourself right now? Because you're definitely the common denominator. And if you can't figure this out, history says your future is going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Every single day, people submit and ask me for a free financial game plan. And then I've trained my team to give you my multi-million-dollar custom game plan on exactly what I would do if I was in your situation. Now, this costs nothing because I believe that a multimillionaire's perspective is all it takes to get you moving in the right direction. If you'd like to know what I would do if I woke up in your shoes, click the link below, fill out the information, and let me give you a free game plan. So tell me, what do you think the universe is telling you? What do you think people are seeing that you're not?
That's a great question. I was out of work for a little while. I think employers don't like seeing that, but again,
nope, sorry. Nope, that's not it.
Yeah, that's a good question, and it might take me asking somebody that knows me really well. Off the top of my head, I don't know if I can think of it, but it probably is the fact that I'm struggling to stick with something. You know, I need to just pick something.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about entrepreneurship. It requires a tenacity to fail 1,000 times.
Right.
And the average person is willing to fail 3 to 5 times. My question for you is, how long does your average opportunity last before you ditch it to go find something new?
Probably 3 or 4 months of failing nonstop. I think the issue mostly is I run out of capital, and I have time in between having the capital that I think of something else, and I just need to go back to the original thing and master it.
Yeah, so here's my personal experience in life. If your top is to stick to something for 3 or 4 months before you give up on it, that's not enough commitment to actually learn how to do something, because there's a learning curve in the beginning to acquire a skill to get good at something. For example, if you're going to do short sailing, you have to get hundreds of rejections, and you're going to have to make dozens and dozens of offers to see something come through. Like that's just the reality of that game. And I think most entrepreneurship, when people fail going into some kind of hustle or business, they just don't stick with it long enough. You know what you could do? This would be interesting. Where you live, go door to door, find people with pets, look for poop in their yard, and tell them that you'll charge them $20 a month and you'll keep their yard picked up clean once a week so that they don't have to do that. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go get 100 accounts so that you're now making $2,000 a month from that. And then if you can get $2,000 a month coming from that, you can get $100,000 a month from that. And if you stick with it, you can make $250,000 a year in poop. And if you can do that, you can make $1 million a year in poop. Like the reality is, if you stick to something long enough, eventually it's going to bear fruit. But if you keep choosing games where you're going to stick with it measured in weeks, because 3 to 4 months is not measured in months, that's measured in weeks. That's basically saying, I'm going to try something for 13 weeks and I'm going to see if it works. I don't know anything that bears fruit in 13 weeks consistently. I just don't. So I don't think you have staying power to stick with something. And that's somehow showing through in your character because employers are seeing it. You got 700 applications out. You get called for the interview and the people are seeing missed work stints, bouncing around, and they're basically saying, this person lacks the discipline to stick with whatever it is they're doing. Let me ask you, do you go to the gym?
I do.
And how long have you been going to the gym?
Consistently for 3 years.
Okay. And how many times a week are you going to the gym?
4.
Okay. If you can go to the gym 4 times a week for 3 years, pull from that and do that at work. Like become a diehard, whatever it takes. That's the first thing I would share. The second thing is there's a bit of a failure complex that's coming through. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Explain it. That'd be great.
Well, a failure complex is when you've tried a lot of things and nothing has worked. What do you start believing about yourself that has tried a lot of things and things aren't working, and you've tried to get jobs and you're not getting jobs? Like, what do you tell yourself when you're alone and no one's looking and you're in the dark? What are you telling yourself about you?
Well, I tell myself I'm a winner, but maybe I'm not believing it hard enough.
You're telling me that after gig after gig after gig that didn't work, you go home and tell yourself that you're a winner?
Well, I tell myself I've got stuff to push for and things that are important enough to...
Yeah, but everyone has limiting beliefs. So what else are you telling yourself?
I guess a lot of it would be, you know, you've tried things in the past and they haven't panned out and maybe it's not for you. And, you know, maybe you're not the one to fix this for all the people that are relying on. And yeah.
Now we're getting honest. That self-talk right there will sabotage every future opportunity. Because here's what'll happen. The going has to get tough before you get a reward. And what I surmise is happening is that you've got a habit that you'll try enough and then you get to your breaking point where you say, this isn't going to work. And then guess what you do? You manifest this self-fulfilling prophecy of, yeah, now this actually isn't going to work. But the truth is, it's not working because it doesn't work. It's not working because you've decided at some point that it's not going to work.
Right.
So like the self-talk has to change. You're not telling yourself you're a winner. You're telling yourself, this is someone else's problem to solve. I can't do it. I tried. I gave it the college, go ahead. It didn't work for me. That's the self-talk. That's the self-defeatist talk that I'm talking about that is keeping you from actually sticking with something long enough. I was just here in my house. I had Cody Sperber. He's a buddy of mine. It took him 14 months to do his first short sale. Then it took him 4 months to do his second one. And then it took him 2 months to do one after that. And then that calendar year, he made over $1 million. If he had given up in the first year, he would not have made $1 million in the second year. And so the reality is your world is full of people you look to like me that look like we're really, really successful. But here's the one thing that we have. We have staying power, which means we can fail not 3 times or 5 times or 50 times. We can fail whatever it takes times until we actually win. And so that's the one thing I'd really be looking at is what's your self-talk? And then, are you really trying hard enough? Right now, I think the universe is giving you your answer. There's more in you that you've got to dig deep and show, and you got to get after it at a level that you haven't demonstrated yet.
Right. I think that's fair. Thank you.
So what's the thing that you've tried in the last 2 years that you think you cut out early on that you know can work?
Well, I really wanted to revisit the remote cleaning business. Yeah, I think I tried it. I hit a wall. I had trouble hiring people, trouble finding leads was a big one. And I think I'm a little bit more refined than I was, and I'd like to hit it again. It sounds like this time for a much longer period of time.
If you hit it again, I'll share with you what I would recommend. I would drop in an energy of whatever it takes. And I would go after it, and I'd get some accountability, not you. I would find someone that can hold you accountable, hold your feet to the fire, so that when you mentally get a little bit beaten down, you don't give up. You actually get back up and you may want to add some consequences to the game. Now, by the way, winners do also know when to quit. And so it's not like I would try it for a year or 2 years or 5 years, but what I would want to see is a measure of success in a period of time to stick with something. I think though, you've got a pattern of trying and then giving up and then trying and giving up. And it's the giving up that has me the most concerned. So I really want you to try your hand at something that you're not going to give up at, that you know in time you're going to get good at, something that you're going to stick with.
Right. I think that's fair. I think I get caught up in the fact that I'm not seeing results. And so at the gym, if you don't see results, you just change a program and, start to see something. But it's just, I just need a longer time horizon, I think.
Yeah. And don't go it alone. Find somebody that can be there with you. You could literally go find someone in your community that is a successful entrepreneur and just say, hey, can we chat a couple times a week and do some accountability once a week and hold my feet to the fire? You're a successful entrepreneur. I'm trying to do this thing. I'd like to bounce some ideas around. Would you do that for me? And you know what? There's a lot of entrepreneurs that feel alone because they've been forced to go it alone. They're looking for camaraderie. And dude, if you were in my community and you said, hey, Kris, would you do that for me? I'd say yes. So go find someone that will do that for you, and don't be alone in the game so that you get a different person's perspective to just, check in on your own BS and see whether you're making the right call or you're giving up for the wrong reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. I appreciate that.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I am 100% wishing you 100% the very, very best. Get out there, whatever you do, stick with it, stay with it, get some help until you figure out how to win.
Yeah, I'll do that right away.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.